Imagine a reader, leader, thinker, wanderer, trainer, and an ambivert blessed with coaching and people skills. That's me, Gautham, your coach, founder, able experts. Experiments are always fascinating. Let it be a scientific experiment or a psychological experiment or a genetic experiment, whatever experiment it may be, they are always fascinating because they reveal a lot of truth. I, as a trainer and a coach, I read a lot of books, and in books I come across a lot of experiments. I always used to question how these what is the validity of these experiments? Are they proved? I had all these questions, and I happened to conduct an experiment on my participants a couple of days ago on a free webinar, and it worked, my dear friends. It worked fantastically. The results were awesome. What I expected, it happened there in the webinar, and I'm bringing it to you right now. That experiment, how I conducted, what was the result, and what we could learn from that. Are you ready for it, guys? Get ready. I'm going to bring it right now. And before that, let me explain why I wanted to conduct this experiment. I wanted to show the participants that how their mind works, how their mind can be easily deceived, and how I can give a stimulus and extract a response that I require. It can be done. I wanted to prove them. That's what I proved them in the experiment. So let's get into the experiment with no further ado. Here are the experiment rules. I contacted the host team and said them, I'm going to conduct an experiment on the webinar. I need their support. I'm glad they gave their support. So the experiment is going to have two parts, part 1 and part 2, and then it's going to have two sets of participants, set 1 and set 2. The set 1 participants, their names will not be changed in the webinar. As it happened on a Zoom platform, we had to create a clear distinction between set 1 and set 2. Set 1 people, they will take part in part 1 and part 2 of the experiment, and set 2 people, their names will be changed to a number so that we can easily identify them, and they are randomly picked. We don't know who they are, so we change their numbers and we put them into a category called set 2. So set 1, these people's names are unchanged and they will be a part of part 1 and part 2 of the experiment, and set 2, their numbers will be changed and they will take part only in the second part of the experiment. So this is what the basic guidelines is. Let's go into the experiment right now. Here's how the experiment unraveled. Initially, I asked the set 2 participants whose names are changed to numbers to be kept in the waiting room, and the host eventually did it. So I started the first part of the experiment with set 1 participants. I gave them 8 words to be memorized.
Okay, in the experiment on the night, it's going to be a memory test. Now I'm going to bring up some words. I'm going to give you 30 seconds time. Memorize it. Furniture, reckless, aloof, egotist, corner, risk-taking, stapler, adamant. Okay.
After asking the participants to memorize these 8 words in whatever order they require, I gave them a passage about an imaginary person called Guru.
Guru spent a great amount of his time in search of what he liked to call excitement. He climbed Mount Everest, dived into the middle of an ocean, rode a bike from Kanyakumari to Jammu, and went paragliding in the Himalayas without knowing much about it. He has risked injury and even death several times. Now he is in search of new excitement. He is thinking perhaps he will do some skydiving or maybe come around the world on a bicycle. By the way he acted, one could readily guess that Guru was perfectly aware of his ability to do many things well. Other than business engagements, Guru's contact with people were rather limited. He feels he do not really need to depend on anyone. Once Guru makes up his mind to do something, it is as good as done, no matter how long it might take or how difficult it might be. Only rarely will he change his mind.
As you can see from the passage, Guru, he is an enthusiast. He likes to travel a lot. He likes to do a lot of things. He has climbed the Himalayas, and he's planning to go on a world tour on a bicycle. And if he decides one thing, it is as good as done. He never changes his mind. This was the passage about. Now that the set 1 participants have read about Guru, now I asked them to describe Guru in only one word. And here's what the answers that I received. And these were the replies that we got from the participants. Perisami replied risk-taking, Preeti again risk, Noor egotist, Tamari Selvi adamant, Usha Lakshmi here risk again, Karthi aloof, Sri Devi, she replied adventurous, and Tenaris replied adamant. Okay, whoa. Guys, did you just take a look at the words that I've used? Oh my god, that was really awesome. If you have not yet noticed it, Stay there, my dear friends. You're going to be really surprised at the end of the experiment. Now that we have got the data from set 1 participants, I went and called the set 2 participants to be let into the program again, because these people are numbered people. They have been kept in the waiting room. I asked the host to let them in, and then they joined the call.
Okay, welcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I want the numbered people only to reply.
And now the same experiment was conducted to them in part 2. The same. I'm going to give them the 8th word to memorize, and then I'm going to give a passage about Guru, and then I'm going to collect data from them. So this is what is going to happen again. Now it's time for the 8 words. Let's take a look at the 8 words that I gave to set 2 of the participants.
Here are the words for you: valet, adventurous, friendly, independent, headlight, self-confidence, sunglass, persistence.
As you just saw, I gave the set 2 participants with a new set of words, 8 words, and asked them to memorize it. And then I gave them the Guru passage. They read along with me, and then they understood the passage, what it is about. And then when I asked them to describe about Guru in one word, here are the replies that I received. Okay, these were the replies from the numbered people, which are the set 2, number 15 replied courageous, number 3 replied excitement, and then 14, 10, 12, 4, 6, almost all replied adventurous, and then 2 replied adventurous, persistence from 4 and 5, and then independent from Vidya Lakshmi number 6. Wow! My dear viewers, aren't you really fascinated by the results that we just got from set 1 and set 2 people? Because there was a huge difference between the answers given by both these parties. One was from the negative perspective and other was from the positive perspective. How did that happen? My dear friends, if you take a deep look into the experiment, for set 1 people, I gave them words which had some negative shade to themselves. And for set 2 people, I gave words which had positive shade to themselves. And that was the differentiative factor. Because when I asked them to memorize those words got into their mind. And when I asked them to read about an imaginary person called Guru, the set 1 participants look Guru from the negative shade because of the words that are given them beforehand, and the set 2 people look Guru from a very positive angle because of the words which are given them beforehand of the experiment. So that was the result. If you take a look at the numbers given by the set 1 people whose names were unchanged, they gave replies like risk-taking, egotist, adamant, which were from the negative point of view. And if you take a look at the replies given by the set 2 people who are numbered, they had given answers like courageous, adventurous, independent, excitement, etc. and etc., which are from the positive point of view. So this is a massive difference. One set is from the negative point of view and another set is from the positive point of view. Fascinating, right? So this is how our mind works, friends, and the reason behind it, it is called priming effect. How about that? Through this experiment, I wanted my participants to learn how priming affects our mind. For those of you who don't know what priming is a technique through which I can condition a response by exposing to a particular stimuli. To understand it easily, let me give you a simple example. I want you to listen to the 4 words and keep it in your memory. Okay, now I am doing an experiment on you right now. Okay, first word is bomb, second word is white powder, third word is cargo carrier, and fourth word is Middle East. Now I want you to imagine a country anywhere in the world. What country comes to your mind? The country that comes to your mind directly is Lebanon. Why? Because I primed your mind with those 4 words. Okay, if you connect all these words, you get the country called Lebanon, because that's where the ammonium nitrate, 3000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate blew up, creating a massive destruction. How now I'm making you guys to go for the country called Lebanon by giving those 4 words. So what I'm basically doing is I'm priming you. Priming is everywhere. Our minds are getting primed day in, day out, but we are turning a blind eye to it. If I'm aware to it, I'll be able to make advantage of it, or I'll be at disadvantage. Let me give you a few more examples for you to understand priming better. Let's say you're going into a temple. Before going into a temple, there are some temples will ask you to go and wash your legs and leave your footwear on the outside and enter the temple. So once you have done that and you entered the temple, and after if you receive any sort of prasadam on your hand, what you do is you will not throw away on the very place you are standing. You will go and find a corner, or you will find a dustbin to put on the waste. But imagine yourself being on the road. We'll just eat whatever we want, and sometimes what we do is we litter on the road right away. But why are we not doing it inside the temple? It's because they have primed us before entering the temple by asking us to leave our footwear and wash our legs there. So this is how the priming works. Let's say you're going to get into a new relationship. So before you enter a new relationship, seriously, what we do is we prime each other's. The opponent prime each other's a lot. Let's say the one person, the man will say, look, on Sundays you should not disturb me at all. I'll go and play football with my friends. I like to go for first day first shows or stuff like this. So what the person is doing to the opposite person is, this is what I am, this is what you want to deal with, so get ready for it. And this priming effort does work. Imagine you are running a business and you have put up a sticker on behind the cash counter saying that credit breaks love. Now an unknown person enters your shop and he is planning to ask you for a credit, and he looks at that simple message behind the cash counter, credit breaks love. Now you are priming his mind that I'm not ready to give credit, so don't ask me credit. Now that simple poster will prime him from not asking credit from you. And finally, my dear friends, what we need to understand is how our mind has got a fallacy for priming. So if we can prime our minds properly, we can extract the response that is required from us, that is applicable to the opposite person, the person sitting next to you, beside you, behind you. So anyone is prone to priming. All we need to do is be aware about it, take advantage of it, and if you are at disadvantage, you are going to be the loser. And that's it for today. Peace and prosperity. Take care. Bye bye.